Well, here we are today at fabulous Lindholme Lakes, and we're catching some beautiful F1s. So what we're doing here, oh, look at this. Well, we've got the launch of our new squeeze ready green ground bait. Oh, look at that's a beauty. And we're here to see if the lovely F1s and carp in Benny's like it. And they don't like it, they love it. It's beautiful. And that's another 4-pounder. Another golden, beautiful F1. And the idea is basically quite simple. That's a big bag which is for a full day fishing, and there's a small bag for a couple of hours fishing. Comes in two sizes. But the idea is you open it up, you put it in the tub like that, and you don't have to do anything with it. All you're going to do is fish with it. And you can see I've just got a little 6mm sinker on an 18 hook, and I'm just going to put a little bit of ground bait in the bottom. And like I said, this has come straight out of the bag. I've done nothing with it at all. And I'm just going to put that on. How good is that? That's straight out of the bag. Instant fishing. And that's what we're trying to do. Look at that. My hook bait's in there. That'll hit the bottom and it'll just fold out and leave the hook bait, and the fish will come straight into it. Well, that's another one, another big Lindholme F1, I think. And they're coming pretty. Oh, that's a nice fish. They're coming pretty quick now, so I think. Oh, look at that for an F1. Crikey, that must be £6 nearly that. And one of the things I do when I'm fishing for F1s is I use a soft rod. So I'm using my 10-foot light carp rod and a 4,000 size reel, which is me marvellous. Look at that, what a beautiful F1 that is. 026 line, and you can see the ground bait still on. Well, it's come off self-hooking method, but you can still see, look, the ground bait there. It's still on the fish, so it tells you what's happening. It's breaking down the speed I want it to, because that were literally 2 minutes. And so when they're coming that quick, you don't want to leave it in too long, 5 to 6 minutes maximum. So what you're doing by going in all the time, the fish are coming to it. You tell with the indications that you're getting, so that tells you that the fish are coming to it. So you want the top bit to break up, little bit still on the feeder there. But that's what they're trying to get at. So everything's balanced, and with F1s an 18 hook, little hook. It's amazing how many bites you get. You put a bigger hook on, you don't catch as many. So it's a case about getting the balance set up right. Soft rod, strong line, 4,000 reel. You've got to decide whether it's a method or a hybrid, but the depth will tell you that. And an 18 to an 013 hook length. And a sinker, 6mm sinker on the bait, and you don't get much simpler than that. Nice balanced setup, and then if you do hook a big fish like a carp, it's still strong enough to give you a chance of getting it out. One of the biggest questions I get asked, probably most times to be fair, is it pellets or do I use ground bait? Which is it? Well, actually I don't know. I don't know on the day. Every time you go fishing it's different, so I always have mixed up ground bait and I have pellets. But I don't just like natural pellets, I like them to be a bit different. And you can see in there, when I squeeze that, it's got natural pellets, although they've been in natural sensate, but I've got different colour ones, the green ones, the red ones and yellow ones as well, because I'm a big believer in having a different range in my mix. Why? Well, you use different hook baits. When you look at that hook bait there, they're all different colours, aren't they? You've got different ones, yellow ones, brown ones, white ones, so why shouldn't your feed be the same? That's what I believe. So what I do, I have little tubs like that where I'll put an handful of natural ones in, and I'll put the Sunset Bait dyes in there. Just a squeeze, you don't need a lot. Shake them up and they become that colour, yellow, red or green. Then what I do, I just mix a few in. So there's probably 50% the coloured, 50% the natural, and it just looks nicer. And I think if the fish don't want it, they won't eat it. That's what I believe. But I think it can add as an attractant for when the fish come in, they might see different. Let's face it, your hook bait's yellow, pink, white, brown, so why shouldn't you feed? That's the way that I look at it. But, so when I've got all them ready, the next question is it ground bait or is it pellets? Well, I don't know. It's trial and error. So sometimes I'll go fishing and I'll use a ground bait, and then next cast I might use the pellets to find out what they want. And there's times when you go fishing where you're not sure, and you catch a few on ground bait, you catch a few on pellets, you're not quite sure. And sometimes the best way is to mix them both together. So I always have my pellets, my ground bait, and I have a spare bowl. That bowl there is called my mixing bowl. And what I mean by that is, what I might do, I might get 2 handfuls of pellets, ground bait, and 2 handfuls of pellets, like that, and just mix them up. And I've got a 50-50 mix. If you want a few more pellets, you can, a bit more ground bait. And sometimes, and in the summer, sometimes that is the best way of catching them. You can see the ground bait and the pellets, so you've got a combination of both on the feeder. So when I put them on the feeder, that I've got a combination of pellets and ground bait. Sometimes that's the best way of catching. If you're not sure, you can't make your mind up, then just do a mixture of them both. You've got the ground bait, you've got the pellets, you've got the colours, you've got the attractants all working together on your feeder, all in one bowl. So I can use my ground bait, I can use my pellets, or I can use my 50-50 mix. So always have a little mixing bowl at the side of you, so you can swap and change and try it differently, because sometimes that's the best way of catching them. But always remember, the fish tell you, if you're not catching on ground bait and you're catching on pellets, then just use pellets. But sometimes you catch on both, and that's when I use a mixture. Right, so here we go, let's get it right spot. Oh, plop. Nice plop that. Put my line under. Make sure my line's nice sunk under the surface. When you cast into shallow water, which I'm doing on that far bank, sometimes it just takes a bit longer to sink your line because you've no depth to use. So just take your time, because if you get a bite, you'll feel it, you'll know. And then I just get me set up like that. There you go. How quick was that? That's unbelievable, isn't it? How quick that was. And this is another Lindholme F1. I mean, that were literally in, I don't know, 40 seconds. And which tells me that the top bit where my hook bait is breaking down nicely and quickly. Because the only thing I'm interested in is getting it to the bottom and then break up. And the fish was straight into that and took it. Now what I use on here is what I call a balanced setup. I'm fishing mainly for F1s, so my setup's the Marvellous Light Carp, 10 foot, which I think is perfect for F1s, 4000 size reel, a Marvellous, 026 line, and 18 hook to 013. Just take your time and let all the... Oh, look at that, what a beautiful golden F1 that is, look at that. Oh, that's £4. Now that fish took that, and I'm going to show you something now. First of all, I'm going to put fish in net, because I want to show you something which is really important in my eyes. I mean, there were no chance of getting any indications or anything then, because that was straight at that wanted it, which tells me that the ground bait's right, my hook bait's right. But look at that, and we've still got on there, we've still got some ground bait on, which I like, because the fish are at it all the time, and my tip will be going dink, dink, dink. But the soft bit above it, because it's in the plastic bits, it's stuck in it, and always attracting fish, and I quite like that. That's one of the reasons why I like that particular feeder. And on the top where it's free, it breaks down quicker, hence you saw that then, it literally 40 seconds and the fish took it. So if you come back with that, don't be disappointed, because it's in the plastic rings and it's always an attractor for the bait for the fish to come to, and your hook bait is around it. So that's what I'm looking at. Just a nice basic perfect setup, and that's what you have to do, especially when you're F1 fishing. Get your balance set up, soft rod, it's 4,000 reel, feeder, get your ground bait right. It's a balanced setup, and all you do is you can use a band or a spike, and all I'm going to do, I've got a spike on at the moment because I've put softer bait on, I put a softer sinker on, a little bit in the feeder, make sure it's in the right spot, squeeze. Look at that, how good's that? How good's that? That's beautiful, that. And all you do, light yourself up, cast it, plop, make sure it goes plop, not splosh. See at the bottom now, just let it go to the bottom, start breaking up, put your rod tip under, just sink your line, just take your time, because like the last fish, if you get a bite you'll feel it, you'll know that it's on, and once your line's sank, just put it on your rod rest. I don't like a bend in the tip, so I put it there and I'm fishing, and I can have a cup of tea or I can mess about with other things and everything's perfect. Now what I'm looking for, it's quite simply indications. Because of that, there you go, look, there you go, how good's that? So all that top bit on the feeder has been breaking down very quickly, but I bet when I come in there's still some ground bait on the feeder, and if I am, I'm happy. There you go. So we've just caught 2 fish really quick. So it's not a big one, this one, hey up. But if you get 100 of these you'll be more than happy. Or maybe not, but you'll be busy. But look at my ground bait, look at my feeder. I'm not touching it. I'm going to pick the fish up because it's only a small one. And you can see now, look at the ground bait on the feeder, which is what I want. So the ground bait's in the three rings. I'll put that one back because it's only a little one. And you can see, look at that, it's perfect. You can't get much better than what's just happened then, it's absolutely perfect. Question I get asked a lot, line clips on reels, right? How do you use them? How important are they? Well, the first thing is on this marvellous reel it's got 2, right? And that's to be used for different distances. For example, if I can set it at 15 and I can set that one at wherever I want, and so I can use 2 different distances. But the idea of it is so you're always going to cast to the same spot. But you've got to trust it when you cast. Right? Some people think, oh, it's difficult because I think it's going to come off, but you've got to trust it. So when I'm casting to an island or a far bank like this, I'm using the line clip. I'm not using my finger. I'm using my line clip to get there all the time. So once I get to that spot that I'm happy with, you put your line around the clip like that, and it will always go to that spot. So in this case, I've got it set up to go to that island. So when I cast, all I'm going to do, I'm going to cast, I'm going to bring the rod back, and I'm going to trust the clip. So when I cast like this, I cast, bring it back, plop, and it's gone to that clip. And you can see the line's tight now onto that clip. It's it where I want, it's always in the same spot, so I'm always casting the same spot all the time. So trust your line clip. When you put it on and you get it set up, you can trust it. So one of the questions is if you go fishing, it goes and you have to take the clip off to get the fish. How do you get back to that spot? But all I do basically, I just get what you call as a line marker, and I just go like that and just put that on. So if you're fishing it to two distances, you can have that on both of them. And then if you have to take it off or you want to adjust it, you know where you're going back to the same spot all the time. They're a great tool, and it helps you when you're fishing. So if I'm fishing, I have to take it off and it goes like that. And then when I cast out again, where do I get to the same spot? All I do, I wind it on. I've got to the white mark like that, and I can put that back on like that. And I'm always back at the same spot, so I'm always chucking. So get a line marker, mark up where your clip is, and if it does come off, you can always go back to the same spot. There we go. Well, another great big F1. Oh, I can honestly say, I'm fed up of catching fish, which is testament to the venue, and also our new squeeze ready green ground bait. Now, although I've got, where's it gone? There you go. Now I've got ground bait, I've got pellets, and I've got a mixture. But without doubt today, the best, and this is what you find out with any kind of this type of fishing, is every day will be different. But I can assure you, the best way of catching them today was the new squeeze ready green ground bait. You can see it's on the feeder there. That's all I've been putting in, which tells you that it's getting warmer, I think. The fish are coming into the side, that tells you it's getting warmer. But without a shadow of a doubt, that was the best way of catching them today. Just a 6mm sinker on, squeeze ready ground bait, green, the new one that's out in the shops now. So make sure you go and try it. I promise you, you'll not be disappointed. And just putting a little bit in like that, hook bait in, onto the feeder. That's been by far the best way of catching them today. That'll just break down with the hook bait in the middle. Squeeze ready green, it's in the shops now, go and try it.